Your 20s can feel like this frantic race to succeed. But what if the most important work you do is the work that no one ever sees? In this explainer, we're going to break down why chasing that visible success can be a total trap. And we'll get into the real foundational work that sets you up for an amazing life. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by pulling back the curtain on the success illusion that so many of us fall for. Then we're going to talk about a really powerful way to build what actually matters, your core identity, and, that long-term sense of fulfillment. Let's dive in. All right, first up, the success illusion. It's that nagging feeling that everyone else has it all figured out and you're just, trying to keep your head above water. I mean, you've been there, right? You're just scrolling through your phone and you see the promotions, the engagements, the incredible vacations, and that little knot of anxiety just tightens in your stomach. It's a super common feeling, but here's the thing. It's based on a huge misunderstanding of what actually builds a successful life. This pressure actually has a name. It's called narrative conformity. And it's basically when we judge our own lives against this pre-written cultural script, have the perfect job by 25, be married by 30, instead of stopping to ask what we actually need for our own well-being in the long run. So here's the real problem. We get confused between the markers of success and the makers of success. We spend all our energy chasing the visible stuff, the fancy job title, the status, but we totally neglect the invisible foundations. Things like our mental health, our core values, the skills we're building, which ironically are the things that actually create lasting success. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up the choice we're all facing. Are you building a life that just looks good on the outside, or one that's actually solid from the inside out? So often we pick the first option without even realizing it. Okay, so if chasing those shiny, visible markers is the wrong game to play, what's the right one? Let's get into the solution, which is all about building something called identity capital. But first, we have to wrap our heads around this paradox. The more you desperately chase that external validation, like taking a prestigious job you secretly hate, or being in a relationship for status, the more likely you are to make compromises that actually hurt you down the road. So the key is to shift your focus. Start building what's called identity capital. Think of these as the invisible assets you're building inside yourself. Your skills, your values, your resilience. They're the things that nobody can ever take away from you, and they only become more valuable over time. But how do you actually, systematically build this identity capital? Well, there's a really powerful and practical framework for doing just that. It's called the ICE method. IC is an acronym for 3 core pillars. I is for identity formation. That's kind of like the blueprint for who you are. C is for capacity building. Those are the tools and skills you need to build your life. And E is for energy protection, which is the fuel you absolutely need to do the work. So let's break down how to build each one. So how do you actually put this stuff into practice in the real world? Here's some simple, actionable ways you can start implementing the ICE method like today. First up, for identity, you can start with what's called value excavation. It's simple. For any goal you have, just ask yourself why 5 times in a row to get to the real root of your motivation. You can also try some controlled failure, like signing up for a public speaking class to help detach your identity from just the outcome. And finally, do a relationship inventory to really see who in your life energizes you and who drains you. Next, for capacity, you want to focus on 3 meta skills. First is the ability to do deep work without getting distracted. Second, you want to build up your discomfort tolerance by intentionally leaning into hard things. And third, develop your learning agility, maybe through 30 days skill sprints to get good at picking up new abilities really fast. And finally, and this one is so important and so often overlooked, protect your energy. You can practice attention hygiene by just cutting out digital noise. You can establish a consistent recovery rhythm before you hit burnout. And you can use decision minimization, like having a simple wardrobe, to save your precious mental energy for what actually matters. And look, the impact of these small changes can be absolutely staggering. For instance, just implementing that one thing, attention hygiene, like deleting distracting apps and unsubscribing from junk mail, can reclaim an average of 15 hours a week. Just imagine what you could build with all that extra time. Once you start getting that time and energy back, you can reinvest it. And that brings us to our last section, 4 powerful, long-term investments that kind of go against conventional wisdom, but really pay off. First, instead of that rigid 5-year plan, invest in your ability to adapt. Treat your 20s as a time for exploration. This isn't about being aimless. It's about making your future safer by building the ability to thrive, no matter what life throws at you. Second, focus on the quality of your relationships, not the quantity. Instead of constantly trying to network, be deliberate about deepening the connections with the few people who really truly matter. One true ally is worth so much more than 100 acquaintances, not just for your happiness, but for the support and opportunities they bring. Third, shift your focus from the final goal to the system that gets you there. Don't just want the promotion. Fall in love with the daily habits of building your skills that make that promotion basically inevitable. This builds so much resilience because your self-worth isn't tied to one single outcome, but to your commitment to the journey itself. And finally, learn to play the long game. In a world that is obsessed with instant results, the ability to make decisions that will pay off in 5, 10, or even 20 years from now, well, that's a genuine superpower. It's really the difference between a life of fleeting wins and one of compounding, lasting success. And this really brings us to the key question you should be asking yourself whenever you have to make a big decision. What would my future self thank me for investing in right now? So here's the bottom line. Stop chasing the appearance of success and start doing the real, unseen work of becoming the kind of person who just can't help but succeed over time. That right there, that is the true power move. Thanks for watching Bright Steps. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. See you in the next breakthrough.